Hello, I'm Mrs. Luke Farr, and today we are going to read a Bible story about Moses helping free the Hebrew people from slavery in Egypt. For many years, these Bible stories were simply memorized and passed on from person to person until they finally got written down. And this story can be found in the Bible in a book named Exodus, which means to leave or to exit. But before we start, you're going to need a couple of things. You're going to need a piece of paper, just a plain piece of paper, and you're going to need to have your shoes or sandals on. You can pause the video and I'll wait. I'm going to need your help today telling the story, so we're going to use what we call prompts. Those are pictures that tell you to do something when I hold them up. So let's review them. When I show you the picture of fire, I want you to take your piece of paper and crumple it up and keep crunching it with your hands. Sort of sounds like a crackling flame, doesn't it? When I hold up this picture with the word help on it, I want you to yell, "Help, help," until I put it down. And when I hold this picture up, I want you to take your shoes or sandals off. And when I hold this picture or prompt up, I want you to cover your face with your hands. So now listen to this story from Exodus chapter 2, verses 23 through chapter 3, verse 10. Many years ago, God's people, the Hebrew people, lived in Egypt, and they were treated very poorly by the king, who was called a pharaoh. They were slaves, and they had to work awfully hard all day, every day. And God heard their cries for help. "Help, help!" And God remembered them and the agreement God had made with their ancestors, people named Abraham and Isaac and Jacob. God saw their troubles, and God decided to send help. Moses was married to Jethro's daughter. Jethro was a priest, and Moses took care of Jethro's sheep. One day, Moses led the sheep to the west side of the desert. He went to a mountain called Horeb, the mountain of God. On that mountain, Moses saw the angel of the Lord in a burning bush. The bush was burning without being destroyed. So Moses decided to go closer to the bush to see how a bush could be in flames without being burned to a crisp. The Lord saw Moses coming to look at the bush. So God called to Moses from the bush, saying, "Moses, Moses." And Moses answered, "Yes, Lord." Then God said, "Don't come any closer. Take off your sandals. You are standing on holy ground. I am the God of your ancestors. I am the God of Abraham. I am the God of Jacob. I am the God of Isaac." Moses covered his face. He was afraid to look at God. The Lord said, "I have seen the troubles of my people in Egypt, and I have heard their cries for help. I know about their pain. Now I will go down and save my people from those Egyptians. I will take them from that land and lead them to a good land where they can be free of all these troubles. It is a land filled with many good things. Many different kinds of people are already living there. I have heard their cries for help, and I have seen the way the Egyptians have made life hard for them. So now I'm sending you, Moses, to go to the Pharaoh and free my people. So go, Moses. Lead my people out of Egypt. I wonder, when I hear this story, what kind of God hears people when they're crying out for help? Do you ever wonder if God hears you when you're praying for help? God's people were living as slaves in a foreign land, and they were crying out for help. Instead of ignoring them, God listened, and God decided to help them. Have you ever had a puppy or a kitten and heard them crying and whining when they were lonely or scared or hungry? It's hard to ignore. It sort of tugs at your heart, doesn't it? The animals and pets we have in our homes depend on us to take care of them. They can't help themselves. If we love them, we do take care of them. And the God we worship loves us way much more than we love our pets. The Bible verse you are learning in Vacation Bible School is from the same book in the Bible as the story we just read, Exodus. The verse is Exodus 34:6. Let's say it together. Yahweh, Yahweh, compassionate and gracious God, slow to anger, abounding in kindness and faithfulness, maintaining love to thousands. This verse describes God as compassionate and gracious. Those are two very big words. Compassionate people pay attention to other people who are sad or lonely. They don't ignore them. God did not ignore the Hebrew people in Egypt. God heard their cries, and God sent Moses to help them. Gracious means being full of grace. Gracious people do things for others just because they love them. They don't expect anything in return. Our God is gracious and loves us no matter what. Grace is like that. It's a free gift from God. Even when we behave badly and really don't deserve to be loved, God loves us anyway. And we say thank you to God for that gift of grace by being kind to others. So I have a challenge for you this week. When you get ready for bed and take off your shoes or sandals, let that be a prompt to stop and remember the story of Moses' conversation with God at the burning bush. Remember that the God we love is gracious and compassionate, and that when we help others, God's grace is working through us, just like it did when God sent Moses to free the people in Egypt. So go have a good week.